Started on time.
Push the button.
Okay. Okay.
You're good?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Test. Yeah, she just texted me and said no. Jay knew it before I even got the text. And then again, right? You saw that happen. Wasn't just me, right? I was there. I love it. I think I printed what you gave me. So all right. Use yours.
Does everybody have the paperwork now?
Ready to get started?
Ready when you are.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Looks like 1803. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, and Commissioner Roland Cartier has asked for a special remembrance of USMC Mark Legassi, who passed away this week. Moment of silence for our fallen. Thank you. Take your seats. I'd ask the clerk call the roll.
Cartier Roland,
He'll be absent.
Flanagan William. Here. Freeling Nathan.
Here.
Daphne James. Regair Norm. Paul Jim. McDevitt, I'm striking him for the,
Yeah, affirmative. You can strike him from the commission.
Mitchell Adams. Here. Peasley Mike.
Present. Here.
Van A.
Absent.
We don't know Kyle Van's status.
I'll ask about Kyle Van and
Are you inquiring about his status on the commission?
yes.
All right. We can look that up, but I think that was reinstated for Van. Yeah, I think he was carried over. We'll confirm that. All right, take the minutes.
Okay, I'd like to move that we approve the minutes. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the meeting held on December 12th.
Okay, motion to approve. They've all been submitted. You've all had an opportunity to review them. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Second. And Nathan? All those in favor? All right. Anybody opposed? All right, so carries. All right, old business. I believe Andith was speaking to the Veterans Suicide Prevention. Does anybody want to address that? Okay, we'll just continue that under old business and give her an opportunity. Under new business, there was supposed to be a guest speaker, but I don't believe that person is here tonight.
That was scheduled possible for February.
All right, then we'll move to the veterans-related monument survey. There was a number of emails that went out. Eric, do you want to start with that?
Sure. After speaking with DPD and my supervisor and a number of people, I think it'd be best if we actually define what we're looking for exactly. There are some surveys that are currently out there. They're pre-9/11. So it's a good start. It would be something we can get together, but if we might be able to get a subcommittee together to sit down and find out exactly how in-depth we want this. Do we want it on GIS where we can enter it into a system and then it'll be all, that'll be identified. You go on GIS, click a little red button, find out what it's there. What exactly do you want this to say? Do you just want the location, or do you want the location and history? Also, I was wondering if, do we need a grant if we're going to have some volunteers for this? And I thought that might be best that we talk about that in a subcommittee of some sort. I'd be happy to host one at my office, or if we go have some coffee somewhere or something. And then I also spoke with Craig Thomas of the Department of Planning and Development. They're still working on trying to identify a grant. Right now, there was one grant that would have been able to be used for something like this. However, it is their salary grant, so they won't be able to use that. He did say they're looking into something like a Home Depot. They've actually contacted them because they're very helpful with veterans projects and such. So they are working on that. So those are all the kind of avenues that we've been looking at since the last time we met. So if somebody would want to be a part of a subcommittee, I think that, in my opinion, that might be a good first step.
We concur. Is there any more discussion on that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I concur with what Eric said. We need to form a subcommittee to see exactly how extensive we want this to be. And I'd be willing to serve on the subcommittee. At the last meeting, a couple of members said that they'd like to serve on it as well. Now, I have this report that Eric gave out. Now, I don't know if you gave it out to every member of the commission. It's very extensive. It's 371 entries, and it lists all the monuments, but it doesn't list every single monument in the city. There are some monuments, especially the ones in the cemeteries, which he has no control over. And I think if we have a committee meeting, it should include all the other monuments contained within the city, and we should do an inventory of those as well as part of the committee works. I met with Dick Howe this week to find out exactly what his ideas would be if, in putting together a booklet. There's a lot of work, and I don't think this commission should be involved in the type of work that he did in putting his booklets together. But that's committee work. I also met with some people at DPD, and they concurred with what Eric said as far as grants. CDBG grants aren't eligible. They suggested a state grant, but they were going to look into it. They did get back to me, but they weren't very helpful. So maybe I will poll the commission members to see who wants to sit on the committee. I'll get back to Eric. We'll set up a time and date for a subcommittee meeting, and hopefully we'll meet and give a report back at the next meeting, and we'll have something concrete to work on. Thank you.
All right, any further, good.
Excuse me. One of the memos that came through was a email I think it was directed to you, Eric, from DPD, and it talked about a booklet, or a book, that Martha Narkunis had made and authored relative to monuments and memory. A book that she put together through the Historic Preservation Commission, and it listed some of the monuments within the city of a historic nature. Some of the veterans' monuments are listed in here, and it'll be part of the committee's discussions. Did you have a chance to look at it or get a copy?
I have not.
What was the name of the book?
The book is called Monuments and Memory, and it's history and representation in Lowell, Massachusetts, and it's more, 75% of the contents of the book is her memory of her family in Lowell, and 25% is historical moments in Lowell. There's 2 copies at actually there's one now, at the city library. There's 2 on file, I have 1, and there's 1 more copy at the library. It was interesting reading, and a lot of the monuments within the city, but it's a 1980 era type book, so it's not current history. Interesting reading.
The name of the author?
Martha Narkunis.
Anything else? Any other discussion on this? No. All right. What I'd propose, if there's no objection, there are a number of people, at least one, Mr. Hall had indicated that he was interested when the motion was made. It was in the minutes that he was interested in participating. What I'd like to do is poll the members of the commission offline, and then have Bill have you report back each month as a report in progress, so that your first report you can identify who the subcommittee is, and then I'll just leave it up to you and the subcommittee and Eric to set up the meetings, and we'll just do a report in progress each month, if that's acceptable. All right, so I'll send out an email offline, and because there are a number of members that aren't here, and we'll poll who'll be interested in participating, and I'll get that to you. All right, great. While we're on this subject, I didn't see it on the agenda, but in the minutes, there was a discussion. Adam, you had made a motion that was then amended by Mr. Gaffney. It was regarding monuments that relate to veterans, and the Veterans Commission being engaged in that discussion, which we all know right now is held by other committees and other boards. And it was moved to send that motion to the city council, but I did not see in the city council's agenda or minutes from last night that it was delivered. So, I mean, I know it was delivered, but I don't know that it was actually.
I don't know, it wasn't that long ago that I sent it out, and I sent it to, I sent it to the manager, to the city, addressed it to the city council, the chair of the Parks Subcommittee, and Department of Planning and Development. Now, Jim Ostis and one of Eileen Dennehy's assistants were going to make sure that it got distributed to everybody. And I haven't, but it's only been a few days since I sent it out. So not surprised that we haven't heard that it hasn't made it to their agenda yet.
Okay, can I ask that we carry it on our agenda as old business, so that we know what the status of his motion was? 'Cause I think it's legitimate, and obviously, I mean, it's important that we follow up on that. So. Yep. All right.
Did everybody get the correspondence today?
Was that a yes? Yeah. There was an email that was sent out. If anybody needs it, I can resend it for you. It's also, I think your minutes from last month encapsulate what the discussion and the amended motion was too, so you can review it there. All right, Facebook. Anybody want to address that?
I guess we're just waiting on a word if we are allowed to.
I think that was delivered, right?
As far as I know.
It's not going to happen with no email and no Facebook, right?
I wasn't sure about the Facebook. I thought there was further a further push to get the Facebook.
Okay.
But I do know that I did get a response from MIS department stating that there are no committees that actually have an email system. And I was wondering, is there any, I'm not really savvy with the email, with Gmail, but is there any way to make a group email Veterans Commission at gmail.com?
Yeah,
And
very easy.
and possibly link all of you, and somebody would have to be an administrator to pull people off as they're no longer, as we change, but that might be an option. That way you all get, and I can put that on, right now, your individual email addresses are on the website, on the city website, so they can contact you individually, but if you wanted it as a group, that might be another option.
Yeah. That might be like a discussion for offline too, because it's gonna get a little technical.
Let's do that. You and I can get together and we can include the rest of the group in that. But,
Great.
what I did want to discuss a little bit about this, though. I was here when we originally entered this on the floor. It was like 2017. It was before I was even in the commission. I was in the audience, and the discussion then was less about the social media and more about the fact that our agenda and our minutes do not appear on the city's webpage like the other boards and commissions do. I checked yesterday, and we have obviously we have a Veterans Commission page. There's a provision for agendas and minutes there, but they're not posted. So I think maybe, I don't know if I have to enter a motion or just on the back end of this discussion, maybe we should inquire about, Mr. Gaffney, you're doing a great job of documenting all this. I think it should be, it's a public record of what occurred. It would be great if that was on the webpage so that veterans that are interested can find out what's going on if they don't have an opportunity to see what's actually occurring here.
As far as the minutes of the previous meetings, I must be doing something incorrect when I'm trying to attach those because I am attempting to attach those.
To the webpage?
Correct. Now, the minutes of the meeting that is to happen, I don't get those till tonight. We get a draft, but
No, I'm thinking of an agenda ahead of time.
Agenda, correct.
We publish an agenda, we have to have an agenda published 2 days prior.
I thought it was two.
It's a meeting rule, right?
Was it 2 days or is it like a week?
It's 48 hours, I think.
48 hours, 2 days prior, we have to have that agenda locked in. So, I'm less concerned about that and just more the historical minutes stuff that it's just available.
It's been intended. It's probably an error. I'm still learning that part of that.
That's fine, I was just asking about, so we can follow up on that. All right, Veteran of the Month.
Real quick before we move on to the next topic.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Sorry, I was
That's right, sorry.
digging into my phone because I was like, I know there was correspondence for the Facebook issue. The most recent one came out on January 2nd, so about a week ago, and it was from Christine P. O'Connor, the city solicitor, and she stated that she was unaware of the Facebook inquiry and request, even though, as we all know, it's been floating around in some level on someone's desk on a sticky note or what have you for months, if not years. However, it was stated that although it wasn't on the current staff meeting, it has now been added, and we should, quote, be hearing from someone shortly. So I don't know what shortly is defined as in city logistics, but based on the current rate of progress, I would say maybe we should be the ones to hold feet to the fire and not wait for a response. So
Agreed. We'll keep it on the agenda as an old business then, and we'll revisit it. Any other discussion on that? My apologies, I didn't mean to move on with it. All right, then we'll talk about Veteran of the Month.
I'd added two more, I had communicated with two more organizations, the Elks and the Long Meadow Golf Clubs, and I probably have 4 or 5 others that I will communicate. I haven't heard anything yet. These organizations probably have met with meetings, so get it in their cycle that they distribute it. But we haven't had a lot of response to the different solicitations that we sent out.
Like,
So anybody that has any other suggestions of anybody I should contact, I will follow up on it.
right, so if you all have nominations or such that you want to send in, we need to get that list of possible nominations. The question I have is, at this point, should we look at a date in the spring or like we did last year in June about setting up another one of those recognition ceremonies now? And so we can start planning that? What's the feeling? I mean, if we don't have the nominations, then we obviously can't, but rather than wait till the last minute, maybe we should kind of get a date in mind so we can start working against that.
Andeth, I thought Andeth had a couple of approved nominations that were waiting for the recognition.
Even better, then we can bring those to a vote in the commission.
There's two,
She had 2 nominations.
I believe so.
I think they've been approved in vote.
I think it was 2, it was maybe October. We would have to go back and look, but I think it was September, October timeframe. And we talked about it, and then we ran into holidays, so on and so forth. So I do think that spring is definitely kind of the ideal time period, especially if there are multiples. If there are more that come to light or come to the surface, fantastic. If it just remains those 2, then maybe we look at something that's not end of school. You know, I would draw the line that says it's not during spring break, and let's avoid the month where everybody starts getting out of school because no one will be present. They'll start going on vacation, so what would that be, like May-ish, because school gets out in June, right? I have no idea, I'm not in elementary school. But yeah, I would say like maybe April or May, one of those kind of off-peak months.
It's kind of, I was kind of thinking like April, because you go into May, the back end of it is Memorial Day, and then, like you said, then you start going into the summer months. We did our one last year in June.
Right.
But we did that because we were doing the Gillis Memorial Square, and we were trying to link up, and that was in July, and we were trying to link up with that, so.
Sure.
All right, let's start thinking about an April date, and next month we'll lock it in, and in the meantime, I'll circulate something amongst the other commissioners, so if there's a date that, you know, we can start, and Eric, I want to include you in that, obviously. Is April out of the question, or what do you think?
I think the feedback that I got was they would prefer that when we set the date, that we know who the nominees are so they could get ahead of the game.
Right.
In the past, we've, a week before, we've submitted the names, and it was just too much on the mayor's office to put together the citations.
And I think maybe that's when we draw a line originally saying that if nobody is brought forward by, I don't know, March 1st. So basically, we're giving them, 6 weeks at this point. If nobody else is brought to the surface in the next 6 weeks, then we submit the names as is, which I guess would be the 2 that Andith has. And we would say, okay, these are the 2 that will be a part of the upcoming ceremony scheduled for X date in April. And that way, if anybody else shows up afterwards, it's fine. We just start looking, again, into the future a couple months. So that way there isn't this mad dash scramble or one of the families of the 3 people being, honored can't make it for the proposed date. So then it becomes messy. It gives everybody time to work through it.
And that's why I'm asking let's set a date in April, because I'm trying to appease exactly your concern, Eric. I don't want to be at the last minute handing. I'd want to get the stuff closed out.
Yeah.
Like he's saying, maybe by the March meeting, by our March meeting, we close out those and get that information over to the city 4 weeks in advance.
4 weeks would be plenty.
Right.
Yeah.
I could certainly, I request a date in April, and I'll get back to the commission.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, Adam, do you want to talk about the motion regarding legislative awareness that you made last month?
I guess the basic idea is just to get more of a connection between the Veterans Commission, what we're doing here, and what the state's doing, and what some of the VA facilities in the area are doing, so that we could be a little bit more coordinated. I don't know how much we're in the loop with all the other people. I think if we're gonna do some really good work in the city, we should really kind of know who we're talking about and with.
Did you want to make that one report in progress, so that if, brief it as needed type of thing, as you have information to pass?
think that, yeah, I think getting the info, at least to us, so we can get it out, hopefully on a Facebook page at some point in time, would be a good thing. Yeah, definitely.
All right, and Eric, you said you would serve as a conduit for, at least for, in the capacity that you were aware of something, you would pass it to the commission, correct?
Absolutely.
I have a question. This is really for you, Eric. Does it make sense, and by virtue, it's to you as well, Adam, does it make sense to try and build a stronger relationship, obviously, with the largest metropolitan area in our region? So look south. And if we develop stronger ties with, I don't know, Boston's version of us, then obviously we have a better idea of what's happening there. And because of just the proximity to the rest of the legislative body, they will have a stronger pulse of what's happening. Yeah, they have closer ties to those departments, whereas we're here kind of looking down or around. So maybe going to them first and saying, you know, what are you guys working on? What do you have going on? And then bringing that information back to our area. I don't know.
You're almost talking like having a liaison to
Yeah.
the Boston, is
Yeah,
our
because I mean,
counterpart
you
in the
know,
Boston area.
there's what, a state level representative for Veterans Affairs.
Talking about
I don't-
Francisco?
Yeah. So I mean, if that exists there, I don't know what kind of ability we have to reach out to them, but
There's two organizations. There's a Northeast Veteran Service Officer Association, and then there's Massachusetts Veteran Service Officer Association that covers the entire state. And the MVSOA, they actually work, they have a legislative committee. I'm not sure if you need to be a veterans agent to be a part of that committee. So I'm wondering if someone, once a month, they both meet once on a monthly basis. And they discuss those type of issues. So I'm wondering if they would allow this body be at these meetings, or at least one person. I'm not sure the membership fee. But there is money in the account now, or when we do get the account going. But I think that might be beneficial, and that way you'll hear all the issues throughout what's going on in the Northeast, and then the MVSOA, the Massachusetts Veterans Officer Association, they're the ones that actually deal with, they have a natural committee on the legislation that goes out throughout the state. So I'm wondering if it'd be beneficial if we see if we can join both.
That would definitely be, I think, beneficial for us. At least get our foot in the door, be able to hear what they're talking about, and seeing what we can bring back to the city, like you were saying. That makes a lot of sense.
So you're volunteering?
They meet during the day.
it was my idea, so, you know, I guess, yeah. I
Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, I just need to know who I need to call or who I need to send an email to, and I'll happily stick my foot in the
I will
door.
talk to both organizations and find out if other than VSOs can be a part of that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to volunteer.
I know they
you to do
allow
it.
admin and prior VSOs to remain, so I'm assuming. So or I can have a guest,
Okay.
if
And
it got that far.
And then the other part of that was and I had mentioned it, I think last meeting or the meeting before, was to see if we can establish maybe a meeting in this area for the commission, but also to try to bring in the other partners that we have in the community, all the nonprofits, and also bring in some of the VA, I would say, leadership in Massachusetts, sit down in a meeting and basically have an open discussion about what we can do better.
You thinking like hosting a forum locally
Yeah,
type of thing?
yeah, definitely.
We could, yeah, let's explore that. We could probably do it in lieu of a commission meeting for that month, just do it. And one of the venues you could certainly exploit would be like the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. That is a veterans facility. I serve as a trustee over there. They're looking for those types of events to come in, and it's a great venue to do that, so.
That would be a great place.
It would,
Describe the event again.
So the basics of it would be to get the commission and then also the nonprofit partners in Lowell and in the surrounding areas, plus, let's say, the head of the VA at the Lowell Seabach and at Bedford Hospital, possibly even the heads of the VA in Massachusetts into the same room and discuss what we could do better in Lowell, whether it be housing, whether it be programs, what kind of things does the city need to meet the veteran population that all these partners see. I don't necessarily think the nonprofits are talking to the head of the VA in Boston. So, it would be good
Use
to
the term forum.
I do.
forum, yeah.
I just was struggling to
I think that's a great idea.
Because there's definitely stuff we could do better in Lowell. Like, we know there is, the numbers show it. So, we may as well start to try to tackle it one little bit at a time,
You're probably gonna end up needing a committee for that, but,
Probably. Yeah, probably.
well, I mean, it's gonna be a lot of work, let's.
It's a one-man committee right now.
Yeah, right now, a force of one.
Yeah.
Well, you're Army, right? You guys like that force of one.
But no, I
so-
was Marine Corps.
Oh, all right.
Don't do
Marine
that.
Corps.
Oh, sorry.
I did do a little bit of the National Guard, Army National Guard.
There you go. I knew that you had some of that on you. All right.
Mr. Chairman, one add-on to this.
Go ahead, sir.
Issue. After it came up, I spoke to someone from our legislative delegation, and, they indicated that they would be, very helpful to it. They would want to be helpful with their staff as far as promoting legislation that we might be interested in, or else monitoring the legislative agenda to see if there's anything that affected us. And I think that's sort of the same thing that these organizations would do. But I think that we might want to consider playing in our own legislative delegation to some extent, because I think it would be a good idea
No
to
question.
maintain a relationship, maintain or develop a relationship with them.
Moving on up the food chain, basically. Yeah.
There's no question, and we would definitely welcome that liaison, because it's local, and it's relative, and it's, and they're actually at the State House, so for sure. Definitely. Any other discussion on it? All right, so yours would be one in progress as well, but we need to kind of get started. At least first start throwing some ideas at the wall and see what sticks, so. Okay, cool. Next is the email that I sent out this morning regarding Operation Returning Veterans. There was a donation accepted by the city council last night. You prepared to speak to that?
It was just, there was an organization that was through the Lowell Housing, and they disbanded, and they had asked me where the money could go, and I had suggested that it might be useful with the Lowell Veterans Commission. Months later, I received a check in the mail. Then we had to have it approved by the city council to be accepted, and now, which happened last night. The city council, and now we are in the process of actually getting an account. I don't know how the logistics of that will go. I've reached out to the finance department as well as Health and Human Services to find out how it'll be. Maybe it'll be just a new line item in my account, in my budget, and it'll just keep carrying over. I don't know how that'll work. So once I find out, I will get back to all.
Well, just to clarify, it's only a one-time donation, so it's not a recurring fund, right? And it was in the amount of $995.
Yes.
And my guess was that you would administer that through the VSO's office, the commission right now doesn't have any mechanism for administering funds.
That's fine. That's what I was
My
assuming as
concern.
well, but I think it should be a different line item.
Agreed. But-
So, they just need to create that.
Okay. That's where I would expect that it probably will land. So, all right, keep us advised of where our $995.
Yes, sir.
I'm just kidding.
Could that cover the expenses that you incur on the Veteran of the Quarter expenses?
Absolutely. Right now, my budget, current operating budget is, we don't do them that often, and it's really not that great of an expense, so I've been able to take it out of the celebrations account that we have. So, if you wanted to find something that might be a little more, something that you can put the money towards. I mean, I know the Veterans Office can cover the,
So we're really looking at the 900 and, change as something that would either go towards a singular large expense, which maybe it makes sense, or something that doesn't fall within the existing discretionary budget. So if an item came to a vote, then at that point, we could basically just refer to you and say, can this item be covered under whatever, you have existing in your different, pockets to choose from? If it doesn't, then we would use it. So really, it's gonna sit on ice until it can't pay for something, or until we come up with, a better idea to use it for. Not that, paying for the celebration is a bad idea, but if we're already paying for that elsewhere, maybe we can use it more efficiently somehow.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, through you to.
Go ahead.
We have the money. One thing I'd like to find out is, will it be in some kind of a line item or account? If we get another donation, do we have another separate line item or account, or could it get it billed?
I think it could be under the same line item. Again, I would have to defer to the finance, but I believe that it would, once it's created, that would be your line item. And then we would just have to, if there's donations, then it would have to go through the same process of being accepted at a city council meeting.
And the other part is, once having been accepted, do we then need another approval for the specific expenditure?
I think the specific expenditure would land on us to decide, because it's been accepted on, effectively on our behalf, so
I'm
it's.
not sure about that.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like since it's been accepted on our behalf for our discretionary use, then whatever we were choosing to use it for, we would have to vote, and if it's approved, then we expense the X amount of dollars to pay for that item. If we don't get the votes, either that item doesn't take place, or we have to come up with a different way to pay for it.
Would follow the same procedure as any other payment. We would need a quote, and we would need to get a purchase order going, and that would be approved or not.
Agreed. And so when you get that clarification from the Finance Committee, that's one of the questions that we're gonna have right away is how do you appropriate the money? Are you the keeper, and is the process here in this body, or is it subject to your approval, or however that is defined? One thing we'll want to do, Mr. Clerk, is we'll want to make sure we capture that process and document it pretty well. So once we have an idea of what it is, just so in case that question comes up in the future, we have it set in writing. There's no question in everybody's mind how that works. Any more discussion on that? All right. Communications. Does anybody have any communications from the floor?
I got one.
Fire away, you were first.
Go ahead, Norm.
Hey, I just happened to notice the other day, I was going to Enterprise Bank at Drum Hill, and they now have a sign for veterans parking. So they're starting to do that all over the city. I just happened to see it the other day. As long as you have a veterans plate, you can park right in the front.
That's awesome. Okay,
Just
great.
wanted to pass that on.
So my communication is regarding the Lowell Spinners email that trickled out a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
You want this? This is the email I sent. Do you need it?
Yeah, you got to print it out. I was really just going to ask if there was anything else that had transpired offline outside of what we had already seen, or if anybody was sitting, I don't know.
No, so I can talk to that. It's actually the first item I had in communications, so good timing. On the 22nd of December, I sent out a follow-on email to the original one that was the announcement that the Spinners were looking. They've always done a military appreciation night in June. I talked to a gentleman by the name of Chris Taylor over at the Lowell Spinners. He's just taken over that program, and he's looking for an opportunity to kind of freshen it up. So I guess the bottom line up front, to answer your question, no. I don't have anything substantial to add beyond my email on the 22nd that just said, I'm going to circle back with him, and we're going to try and be creative in the way we engage. What I tried to do on the 22nd was reach out to him, not just on behalf of the commission, but some other organizations that I'm involved in, and let him know that we're interested in being a part of this event, and that we're interested in brainstorming some innovative ways and respectful ways to do it. So we were at the Christmas, New Year's kind of window, and so the agreement that we had the way we left that discussion was that I would get back in January, and by that point, he would have started kind of tentatively coming up with an agenda for the day. So I know and I don't want to speak for him, but I know in our conversation, he had mentioned that he had reached out to the base and a number of other military units, ROTC and that kind of thing in the area. And then right now, the response he's gotten from a lot of the people has been very positive as far as wanting to be involved in it. So, yeah, I think I would agree with you that I think that's definitely something that the commission wants their name attached to, and in the sense that they're being participants and maybe even crafting some of it.
The thought that I had was ostensibly surrounding the idea of the fact that veterans aren't necessarily still in uniform. So obviously, like, the first thing we all think about is contacting, a base that's nearby, which conveniently we have one, going to ROTC because eventually they will be in uniform, actively engaged. But it's that transitional step that the rest of us sit in where, my uniform hasn't been put on in 3 years and probably doesn't fit anymore. But, it's in the closet and I'll never not have it. So I was thinking about it and I realized that maybe one of the things we could do to kind of help tie it together and, I don't know, increase interest or bring in a different aspect is look at some of the other municipal or city organizations that are staffed with veterans, and they're kind of the ones that first come to light. It's the police departments, it's the fire departments, it's service industry. Whether you're looking at, Lowell or, Lowell General, so you have somebody who is a medic, and obviously they're gonna follow that path and end up working in medicine, or if it's the police department, that's a very clear delineation, fire department, same thing. So maybe reaching out to them and whatever PR level they have, saying, do you have any guys that wanna come out? Obviously, maybe they put on uniform, or they don't, I don't know, not my decision, but they come out and kind of show, I don't know, maybe they park a truck outside, or they do something that's like, hey, we're veterans too. It's not just guys that drive tanks and fly planes. There's this whole different kind of like connectivity to it. So if you get a parking spot, you understand how you end up getting a parking spot. It's not just something where you're like, you're a veteran, here's a plate and a parking spot. Well, how does that happen? I don't know if that makes any sense, but I've had a couple weeks to think about it.
Oh, it does. It makes a lot of sense. Any more discussion on that?
One of the few things I was thinking about, but the big one that kind of came to mind was, can we get other veterans organizations, service organizations involved? So like the DAV, VFW, what is it, the service platoon over at UMass?
Yeah, he's reached out to all of them.
Okay.
And that was what I meant by the response has been very strong.
Great.
A lot of those particular organizations have already connected with him, and the ones that he had, and my understanding was he was going to follow up directly with them. So.
And now, will they be able to obviously attend, but would they be able to have like a table there, let's say? Like DAV sets up a table, kind of, this is who we are, this is what we do. Veterans come and, kind of have that outreach portion for a veteran saying, hey, look, yeah, I was in and I got a bum leg, what can you do?
I can suggest that. I would defer to Chris Taylor for that. Maybe we can get him to come. And
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
and then we can ask those questions of him directly, because I don't want to speak for him, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea.
All right, the next conversation I have with him will be will include an invitation to come to the commission meeting.
Excellent.
Anything else on that subject? All right. Any other communications? All right. There were only, just to review real quick, there were only 3 or 4 other ones that were distributed during the month. Eric, you sent the manufacturing and engineering scholarship, the link, which we distributed, so everybody has that if you know somebody who's eligible for that CNC scholarship. I don't know if that deadline had passed. No, it didn't. I'm looking at the email, so that was sent out. The other one was a veterans meditation training on the North Shore. That didn't start till May 3rd.
Mediation.
Mediation, what did I say?
I don't know what, you said
Meditation.
meditation, but that's all right. I mean, I'm sure that'd be helpful as well. I'm not sure, was there a date set up for that already?
No, the only date on your email was, they were looking at dates to start, the 3rd of May, so I would assume that window's still available.
Yeah, I think it's still open, so they're just looking for takers on that. And apparently it's going to last a number of weeks.
Yeah, it was 35 hours of training, so. That's all I had.
Can I
Go
add
ahead,
one
sir.
thing? When you said meditation, it made me think of something. Lowell Seabach has Tai Chi, started this week, Monday, 10 a.m. They do a 10 a.m. to 11 block. It's the starter. 11 to 12, I think, is like an intermediary Tai Chi. And then on Wednesday, they have yoga. I believe it's at 10 o'clock. So meditation made me think about it.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, that's good stuff, health and wellness. So, anything for the good of the order, so to speak? All right, any last reattacks? Take a motion to adjourn? I'll
Second.
take the motion. Motion by Adam, second by Nathan to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Good, thank you. Good of the order?
Good of the order,
Yeah,
followed by.
motion to adjourn. Oh, reattacks.